What is our third main topic today?
This email comes to us from Eric Thomas saying, "Hey, John and crew. These days finishing one Star Wars project means the next one is right around the corner, and that next one is Andor. Alongside a new image showing Cassian and new character Luthen riding a speeder bike, Tony Gilroy revealed that for season 1, the directors worked in blocks of 3 episodes, and that they took that concept and applied it to 1 year each for season 2. I think the idea to tell a story in 4 3-episode parts each representing a year is intriguing. What do you think?"
This is fascinating. First of all, I mean, I like the idea of Andor when they first announced it because, again, Andor represented the dirty side of the rebellion. Mm-hmm. You cannot have a rebellion where everybody is just nice and clean and everything is just all pretty. There has to be somebody doing the bloody, dirty work. And Cassian Andor represented that to us in Rogue One. So when they said they were going to do a series about that, I said, yeah, you know what? I'm on board for that. When they dropped that trailer, though, Rob, I think it's fair to say that for us, it took it to the next level.
Yep.
We were like, oh my God, this looks like HBO shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looked like, right? Now, Tony Gilroy, he just made an announcement that they're going to do something in a very interesting way. Now, we knew that the Andor series was going to basically span the 5 years leading up to the events of Rogue One. And now we know that season 1 is going to cover 4 of those years. And then season 2 is going to cover that one final year. What's really interesting is they're going to break it up into blocks of 3. Every 3 episodes covers 1 year. So we've got 12 episodes coming, which, by the way, thank you, Disney Plus. Can we do more of that? Anyway, this is what comes to us from the good folks over at Hyperbeast who write the following. Tony Gilroy explained that the story follows Diego Luna's Cassian Andor's 5 years before the events on Scarif, with which each year being explored over 3 episodes. The scale of the show is so huge, he explained. Directors work in blocks of 3 episodes. So we did 4 blocks in season 1 of 3 episodes each. We looked and said, wow, it'd be really interesting if we come back and we use each block to represent 1 year. We'll move a year closer with each block. From a narrative point of view, it's really exciting to be able to work on something where you do a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then jump a year. I think this is fascinating. I love this idea because it's going to allow us. One of the other things he said in the interview was we really want to have him with a 5-year span to go. We want to see a lot of character evolution. And when you're saying in one season, we're going to cover 4 years with kind of 4 blocks of storytelling, we are in one season going to see hopefully a very tangible, realistic feeling evolution of the character as he goes from block of 3 episode to next block of 3 episode to next block to next block. Ultimately leading us again into season 2, which is going to cover just that final year before Scarif and leading into Rogue One. So I'll tell you what, Rob, I think this is great. I love the structure of it. I love the vision going into it. Now, at the end of the day, you got to make a good show, right? And the trailer certainly promises that. We'll see if it works out that way. But so far, I like everything I'm seeing, and I love this idea. What do you make of this?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, I think also, look, as an example, For All Mankind is a series that every season it's jumped ahead 10 years. Right. And within that, like in the first 4 episodes of season 3, even within an episode, it jumped 2 years. And the way they tell stories, it keeps it engaging, it keeps it exciting, you know, and the writing has to account for those jumps in time immediately. So it's a very deft way, I think, to tell stories. And look, I'm looking forward to this more than anything else because to me, the tone of Rogue One fit more with the tone of how I think of the Star Wars universe, if that makes any sense. That it has a serious, yet it's serious but fun. And I feel that all of the Star Wars, in the Disney era, Rogue One was really the only movie or the only thing for me that really captured what I personally love in Star Wars. And I'm really, I'll tell you, John, my level of excitement for this show is right up to here. Because the writing staff, because of Tony Gilroy, because of what I think they're going to bring to it, because if you look at the writers on the show, a lot of them have worked on previous spy-themed entertainments. Yeah. And I'm like, I think they're going to make a show that is more adult in nature. And the way they've decided to tell this, combining it with the fact that directors are going to work on 3 episodes each, so they're going to feel probably like mini movies unto themselves. Everything about this, it's unique, it's new. It makes me even more excited for the show than I was before.
And it's not 6 episodes.
No. And I really,
I'm so happy about.
I feel like we're going to get a meal. I've never felt, even with The Mandalorian episodes are short too, you know, and you watch them and they're fun and everything, but I never feel like when I saw Empire Strikes Back, it enveloped me, you know. I haven't been enveloped by Star Wars, and I'm thinking that the Andor series is going to do it.
We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, well, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. Amy, you hear about this. I've never personally heard of a structure like this going into a show. And with the nature of what Andor looks like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting way to tell a story. And again, huge Rogue One fan. And I think it took Star Wars in kind of this familiar but such a different direction from what we've been seeing lately. So I think to bring such an inventive storytelling structure to this show is could be a really great fit, because, you know, we know so well now kind of what Star Wars in film looks like, and they're exploring. It's like, what does that look like when you're taking these massive franchises and putting them on TV and putting them on a streaming service? And I think this is a really cool step just as a whole for sort of this new thing we're seeing, like with Disney Plus, where you're getting these massive franchises spun off into TV shows, of not just going, okay, this is just going to be a standard 6 episodes, we're doing this, that, or the other, but to say, let's play with how we're telling this story. Let's use the fact that this is such a different format and medium, that we can tell these stories in weirder ways, that we can give you 5 years of character development that's not going to feel rushed in a 2 or 3, if you're James Cameron, hour span, that we can play with this and do something really inventive and unique. So I'm thrilled.
Let me ask you guys this. Is it fair for me to say that Star Wars needs Andor to be good? Because I am telling you what, as much as my enthusiasm is still absolutely there for all things Mandalorian, and we've got a new season of Mandalorian coming that's promising to be very good, but Book of Boba Fett, while it had its moments, I don't feel bad telling you I was disappointed with it overall. Obi-Wan, which, while it had its moments, including one of the greatest scenes in Star Wars history with that fight between Anakin and Ben at the end, like that scene, that's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes ever. But that was one scene. Overall, I don't mind telling you that I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed in Obi-Wan. And I need to see that they can, like, for me personally, I need to see that they can deliver us something that's really good and engaging, that's not just The Mandalorian. So is it fair for me to say, Rob, that they need this Andor series to be good? Or is it too early to say that?
No, I think they do. I think the problem is Star Wars is in danger of becoming ordinary. You know, to me, Star Wars was never ordinary. Even on things like Star Wars changed my life, the first Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back built on the promise of Star Wars. And it was equally, if not, it surpassed my expectations because I was older. I had become more seasoned as a watcher of movies. And to see Empire, it realized those dreams. And since then, Star Wars, I mean, I know everyone loves Jedi, but for me, Jedi is two great sequences followed. I mean, the end confrontation with the Vader and the Emperors, that's what it leads all up to. It's incredible. It's incredible. The choral scene when they're fighting, it's incredible.
Oh, it's the best sequence in Star Wars.
And I love the swashbuckling opening, the rescue of Han Solo. I love that. But the middle is not as engaging as, say, the middle of Empire, when you've got these two different stories in the middle of Star Wars. It's kind of like, okay, but
because I disagree. To me, Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars movie ever to me, right?
But the highs in Jedi are really high,
right?
But whereas Empire has like the beginning anyway. But so I think that the Disney era of Star Wars has always had an element of, what does Disney need Star Wars to be, rather than allow Star Wars to be what it needs as opposed to what Disney needs.
Right.
And I think Andor, this is going to seem weird, I think Andor is the first time that the creative team knows exactly what they're making. They went out and they said, look, we have Rogue One. That's what we want to do. So they've got Rogue One as this template. You got guys like Tony Gilroy and the writing team he is assembled. They're like, we're going to do a Guns of Navarone. We're going to do a spy series during wartime. Smiley's people, whatever. And they can tell you what it is. And we're going to keep the tone of Rogue One because it's about this guy. So I think that, and Tony Gilroy worked on Rogue One.
Yes, he did.
So I think it's going to be the first time that we're going to get, at least in my mind, a show that's going to feel completely, and I'm setting the bar high, completely fulfilling. Like we watch Obi-Wan, we're waiting for it to be fulfilling. It wasn't quite fulfilling. It had great scenes. It's good to see, but it wasn't fulfilling. I think this show, and I'm willing to go all in on this, John, poker terms.
Yeah.
The river hasn't turned over, whatever. I don't know what the cards, but I'm all in. I'm putting all of my hopes and dreams for Star Wars in this show. And everything I've heard about it has only upped my enthusiasm, including this new format, which I think is unique. And I'm thinking, if this show is killer, it could restore the luster of Star Wars, especially on streaming.
Amy, when I say that I kind of feel like Andor needs to be good,
Yeah.
Does that vibe with you? Do you think that's a little premature? What do you think?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. For me, and I like Star Wars. I don't know if I wouldn't call myself like a massive star. Like, that's not an identity thing for me. And I think for people who enjoy Star Wars more on that level, the excitement's been dwindling, with the last trilogy. And, people loved Mandalorian, but it's like Mandalorian can't hold down the fort of maintaining
Right.
sort of Star Wars cultural
It's gotta be
relevancy
surrounded
for
by
a
other stuff,
casual
too.
fan. Yeah. And with things like Obi-Wan and Boba Fett getting a bit more of a mixed response, it's like these aren't quite sparking it, I think, for people who aren't die-hard Star Wars fans. So I absolutely think something like Andor coming in, kicking ass, being brilliant, like bringing back some of that energy and that love for a more casual fan, especially in tandem with something like if Mandalorian can keep up the quality, suddenly we're looking at Star Wars becoming something that a more casual fan is really excited about.
That's
again.
a really good point, because if they can come out with a super strong Andor and then follow that up with another strong season of Mandalorian, now you're on a bit of a roll. And that would be really good to see Star Wars get on. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think of this idea of 3 episodes representing a year? 4 years can be covered in the season. I think it sounds incredible. How do you guys feel about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there.